So on December 8, 2022, I had a preventative double mastectomy, which means that I removed my breast tissue for prevention because I was diagnosed with BRCA1 gene, which is a mutation that makes my risk of having breast cancer much, much higher than any other woman. On my birthday, on March 19, 2022, my friend told me that she was dying of ovarian cancer. And I found out she had the same mutation I had, BRCA1. Her mother and grandmother both died of BRCA, but she wanted to wait to have kids. Unfortunately, when she had the second child, she found out she had too big of a tumor to be healed. And so, so I thought that was the sign of the universe telling me that I had to proceed. It's funny because a lot of people was like, why would you do it? You're not sick. And I was like, yeah, but I have an 85% risk of getting breast cancer. And my paternal aunt died at my age of breast cancer, of a rare form of aggressive breast cancer. So she, I was like, yeah, but I don't want to get sick. Why would I want to get sick, I don't care what people think. That helps a lot. And also, I was supported by my daughters. And I was also supported by the idea that if my daughter also have BRCA, I want them to do it, So I wanted to be a good role model for them, and show them that mommy did the right thing. Because, very often when I'm faced with a hard decision to make, I always think like, what would I want my daughters to make? Because it's easier to think in the perspective of a loved one than yourself sometimes. It's easier to love somebody else than yourself. I always say that the hardest thing about doing it was the fear leading to the surgery. Because truly the surgery was not that big of a deal. I had breast augmentation before, and it was much more painful because my doctor did a nerve blocking injection. So basically, the nerves didn't recognize the pain, and therefore I basically didn't take any painkillers. It's crazy. Well, a lot of the hospitals that they do this procedure, they give you also a psychologist because, the pressure, the psychological pressure, I think it's one of the biggest part, like your body's gonna change. Am I doing the right decision? The pressure is very high. I personally didn't have a psychologist, but in my life I did so much psychotherapy that, I was like managing. But, for me in life at this point, whenever I have anxiety and fear, I try to coexist with it. It takes a long time before, your body takes the shape that it's gonna have right now. After a year, my breasts, they look great, but it takes a while, So yeah, you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, okay, I did the right thing, but maybe I have to have another, makeup there, but it takes time. The doctor tells you, you don't believe it. You're like, oh my God, she screwed up. For me, the biggest learning is that, I prove myself over and over that, as humans, we're very resilient, So sometimes, when I found out I had the BRCA1 and they told me like, oh, you have to remove your ovaries and breasts, I was like, no way. It's like, why is this happening to me? Poor me, But then, at the end, it showed me that I am so brave, So once again, I found pride in my braveness. Now, that's why I'm very grateful to ELLE, for giving me the platform to talk about this, because every time I did share my experience, I literally had the potential to save lives. As me, I think of myself as a very well-educated person. You know, I read, I keep myself informed, and yet I didn't know about Baraka. You know, my aunt died, I didn't know. I just had a lump, so I had a mammogram, and that's when they told me, because of your aunt, do you want to do the genetic testing, you know? Women wrote me, literally, like my sister, my mom, my grandma, they all died of breast cancer, and I had no clue about the mutation. And then they write me again, I did the test, I have Baraka. And then they write me again, I planned my mastectomy. And you know, it's, you know, information, education, it's really, really important.